guys, how's it going? Today we've got several things we're going to be working on. The first thing is an experimental recipe. So I've got the kids out here with me helping me harvest dandelion flowers so that we can make dandelion honey ice cream. Now I'm 100% skeptical of this recipe, but you never know. So we are going to harvest these, take them in, clean them. We pull all the petals out so that we don't have any of the green parts because I guess those are pretty bitter. And we're gonna make a dandelion infusion first, and then we'll make our custard base and get it all chilled, get it in the ice cream freezer. So I'm thinking by tomorrow we'll have the ice cream ready. But I am kind of hoping we can prep our area for onions and potatoes. I'm a little bit late in planting those at this point because we weren't ready with the water setup yet. So I'm hoping we can get out with the tractor and till up a big spot and yeah, get that started. Do you guys have a whole bunch already?
Yep, here's mine.
Let me see. Ooh, excellent job.
There's more over here.
Yep.
Baby, charge!
Yeah, there's a whole bunch out there. So you obviously want to pick dandelions that have not been sprayed with anything, which ours have not been. So they're just growing all fresh and natural out there and just blooming their heads off. And we need 1 cup of petals in the end. So I'm thinking we're going to need quite a number of flowers to make 1 cup of petals. So here we go.
I bet the honeybees want these, but they can't really move right now. When honeybee get out of the way.
Yep. You have a lot, baby girl.
Oh, I see another honeybee. And I see a honeybee too. Oh, thank you, honeybee.
Yeah.
It's really nice of him.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Look at mine.
Don't worry, there'll be plenty left over for the honeybees.
See, you see how many I have? I mean, look at this dandelion. So big, see? Yeah, I can see its nectar. Hey, honeybee, can you please move? Can you please move? Oh boy, good job. I wonder how much I got.
Ooh, very nice. You want to show me your haul so far? Looking good.
29.
Beautiful. You guys did a beautiful job. Oh, my goodness. Are you going to put it all in one?
See what happens.
Wow.
That's a ton. All that together.
Wow. Thank you for your help. Got a big basket full of dandelions. It's kind of fun out there picking. It's kind of like a treasure hunt. So now we just get them all processed and ready for the infusion. The first thing we did was gently rinse the flowers in the sink, and that just removes any dust, or if there are any bugs that might be hidden, it kind of helps loosen those up and get those off. So we did that, and then we laid them out onto a clean towel to pat them dry. Then we set up outside because the weather was wonderful and it was just a nice time. We sat and visited and pulled all of the yellow petals out of the flowers. And you want to discard as much of the green parts as you can because they have a bitter quality to them. And you'll need about 1 cup of loose petals to make our infusion. So once we had the cup of fresh petals, which it took pretty much every flower that we picked to get that yield, we poured 1 cup of whole milk into a small saucepan and then brought that milk up to kind of like a steaming heat, not quite a boil. And then I added all the dandelion petals, stirred it, removed it from the heat, and then we need to cover and let it steep for about 60 minutes. The longer you steep it, the more floral the flavor is. So after about an hour, we needed to strain all of the petals out. I just used a fine mesh sieve and discarded all the petals once done. So I set that infused milk aside so that we can make our custard base next. So I whisked together 4 egg yolks and then ½ cup of honey, and I used the whipped honey that Sunflower Steve sent us out for Christmas, which was super fun, and then a ¼ cup of granulated sugar, which is optional if you like it sweeter, which we do, so I used it. And I whisked it until the mixture was smooth and pale, and then I was able to slowly whisk in the dandelion infused milk and the heavy cream, which I used 2 cups of heavy cream. Then I placed that mixture over medium-low heat and just stirred it for about 10 minutes. And you don't want to let it boil or the eggs might scramble, so stirring it for that time is kind of a must. And we just cook it until it thickens up enough to coat the back of the spoon. Once that was done, we remove it from the heat. We stir in the vanilla, which the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon, and I think that's all I filmed, but I did end up adding 1 extra teaspoon after the fact, which I thought helped with the flavor, and a pinch of salt. So I poured that into a bowl and put it in the refrigerator overnight. All right, guys, so our custard is thoroughly chilled. It's been in the refrigerator for several hours. So now I'm just gonna pour it into my ice cream maker, and I churned it for about 30 minutes until it reached the soft serve consistency. After which I put it in a container, put some saran wrap over the top, and put it back in the freezer for a few hours until it's firm enough to scoop. Now that we have the ice cream in the refrigerator chilling, we can focus on our next project, which is tilling up a long strip out here in the Dirtlands for our onions, potatoes, sunflowers, and corn. We're also going to be growing some other things out here this year, and we decided to do that instead of putting them in the cut flower, the formal flower garden now space, just because it works really well out here, and I really want to focus on flowers and maybe some perennials and things like that in that space. So Aaron's got the tiller out here, and he's just going to till up one really long row. I don't know exactly how long. It's going to go to where our grass stops, like kind of where these new trees are planted. So we'll be able to see all of it from the Persephone garden. Now you needed me to level check that thing.
Look all right?
It looks pretty level to me.
Okay. I'm going to give you some walking distance between the fence.
That's good, yeah. He just said he's going to give me some walking distance here. Okay, here we go. That's great. Thank you. Okay, so he's made one pass and he's going to go back to the beginning and do it one more time because he was throwing out a lot of really hard, great big clumps of soil. So it'll soften it up just a little bit more. Oh yeah, look at this. Beautiful. And it goes down 8 or 10 inches. I can't remember which, but either way, it's perfect. So now that the soil is ready, we've got to run our drip tape. And we're going to run 4 rows of drip tape, the whole length of this. I'm hoping we have enough, but the whole length of this row. And in this one, we're going to be doing onions first, and that's our goal for today. Onions, and then we'll do our potatoes, which I need to cut and get those dried. So that'll probably, hopefully happen in the next day or two since I am so late. And then come May, so a few weeks, 2 weeks from now, we'll plant our corn and sunflowers. So that will be what makes up this whole row right here, I think. So I need to go grab all of the drip tape supplies. We'll need to run a supply line. This will be its own zone, which will be nice. And then the rest of the stuff that we put out here will also be on its own zone so we can control them separately. Anyway, let's go get the drip tape. Okay, we've got all of our drip supplies. So we've got a 1/2-inch supply line, which is going to connect into that white PVC pipe that you can see right underneath the fence there. That's where the zone starts. So that will feed from the zone, and then it will just run at the very end of our row. And then we'll tap into that with our drip tape couplers, which I've showed you a couple of times, like in our strawberry beds and in our raised beds here recently. And then we'll run our drip tape. So let me get this unwound here a little bit. I love drip tape because you can go very long distances with it without it not flowing properly. Like we'll get every bit as much water at the beginning of the row as we will at the end of the row. And you can see here the drip emitters are every 6 inches, which works out great for most of my plant spacing. Plus, I feel like the water coverage is just better and you don't have to run your drip zone quite as long as opposed to like the ones that are every 12 inches. We did try that once and it just didn't work as great. So this is the tool, the punching tool that we use to punch a hole in our supply line in order to pop our couplers in. And then this is the ender. So once we get to the very end of our row of drip tape, it'll slide into this ender right here. And what other piece? This figure 8 ender is for that. It'll make a lot more sense when we start in. We've also got cinder blocks and landscape staples, which will help keep our drip tape in place. I will run at the row of drip tape, and at the very end of it, I'm gonna pop a cinder block on top of the drip tape, like right where the ender is, and that will help keep it from like pulling back toward the front. What we have found is 2 things. When you turn your water on, it fills up the drip tape and makes it a little bit more rigid, and it pulls, and so it can like make your drip tape get out of line a little bit. And then also, you know, when it gets really hot, if you don't have it buried underneath soil or mulch, which this eventually you won't see it because there'll be plants and stuff growing on top of it. But when it gets really hot, it gets a lot softer and more pliable and more stretchy. And so it tends to want to kind of swirl around a little bit, as opposed to like when the sun goes down and it gets cool at night, it kind of constricts it a little bit more and it's a little bit more rigid. I don't know. So we use landscape staples along the way to kind of keep the row straight, and then the cinder block to help keep it from pulling back. I hope that made sense. Okay, so I think what I'll do is just get it all set up and then I'll just run you through how it looks in the end. I think that will make a lot more sense. I hope. The nice thing is that we are getting into evening hours right now, so it is very pleasant out here, and the spot we are going to be working in is kind of shaded by the fence a little bit. It's in full sun for most of the day though, which is perfect for all the crops we're planting here. Got to be off on at least one. That's where we'll end the rows, I guess. There. Okay, we are pretty much ready to plant. Let me walk you through the drip. So this is where it originates. Now I did not connect it in. Aaron or Paul will do that. They're the ones who usually connect it to a zone. I've actually never done that before. I've hooked up lots of drip systems to faucets, but not directly into a zone. I do know, and Aaron did tell me, that the most important thing is that you have a pressure regulator, which is a little part that you put in between where it connects into the zone and where your drip tube comes off of it. Because if you don't have that pressure regulator, it's just too much and it will blow couplings and you'll end up with little floods here or there, and it can tend to really make the drip tape squeal. Like if there's too much pressure, you'll hear this high-pitched squealing sound that's really not that pleasant. So anyway, we'll get that hooked up probably tomorrow. So right here on the interior of the fence, I kind of trenched it underneath because we'll be using this as a walking path. So I wanted to make sure nobody would trip on that. And then it comes up right here at the head of our rows of drip tape here. And so I just use our little punch tool, popped a hole in, put our coupler in, and then tacked it down all over the place with landscape staples. And I always start the header line off of the real fluffy stuff, otherwise the landscape staples will not like adhere. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean. Like they won't be very tough and stuck in the ground very hard. In here, I mean, it's just fluff at this point. And then the header line comes over. This is where we use the figure 8. You slide that on and just crimp the end there, and I tack that down. And then we'll go take a look at the end here when we're done. Basically all it is the enders with cinder blocks sitting on top of them to weigh them down. So now I need to pour out some biotone because onions, any allium crop, shallots, garlic, onions of any kind, they're heavy, heavy feeders. So we're gonna do biotone starter fertilizer, we're gonna plant, and then I'm gonna top dress with land and sea compost. That always yields me the biggest, most beautiful crop of onions. So this is it right here. So I'm just gonna pour that in this area. I'm actually planting fewer onions than I normally do. I usually go in with like 2 or 3 flats of onions. And I decided this year just to scale it back a bit because I was planning on planting out in the formal flower garden. So, I mean, I could have planted more, and I might head down to the garden center to see if they have any shallot starts because I did not start any. We might pop some of those in later. But I have a mixture of 3 varieties. We've got Walla Wallas, Candies, and Yellow Sweet. So we've got, let's see, 6 packs, 6 4-packs of each variety. And we started these from seed, maybe like the end of January, sometime February-ish. Let's get our fertilizer down and then I'll show you exactly how I plant these. Okay, you can see the biotone sitting here on top of the soil, and as I plant, I'll sort of work it into the soil around the plants. But you can see our candy onions right here. They're looking so good. But we've got lots of onions per cell. Look at this. Oh, I should have probably planted a week or 2 ago. But we can ease these apart and plant them individually. So I usually start at the bottom and kind of do this with my fingers just to ease those bottom roots that have grown together apart. And then we'll start up top. Look at that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in 1 cell. So I'll have probably, well, and like this one only has 5 in it. So they don't all have 10, but there's a lot. So then what you'll do is you plant them roughly 4 inches apart from one another, and you just pop them underneath the soil like that. I mean, it's super simple. And you'll want your rows to be about 12 to 18 inches apart from one another, but I plant them a tiny bit differently because of our emitter spacing. So I just planted this one right by an emitter. I'll plant the next one 6 inches away, right by an emitter, and then I'm gonna plant another one sort of in between on the other side. Let's see if I can get this better here. So we do kind of a zigzag like that. So I'm just gonna continue on like that. So there's our first 10 onion plants. We have a whole bunch to go. You basically just want to make sure, no matter how you're planting them, that they have enough room to form up a nice bulb. You don't want to crowd them too much, otherwise you won't get nice big bulbs. And I can't remember, but I think last year we had like a 7-point-some pound onion. Am I remembering that right? I'm gonna have to go back and take a look. But it was enormous. It was huge. So anyway, we are just gonna get this done. We're gonna have a block of candy onions, and then a block of Walla Wallas, and then a block of yellow sweet Spanish. I might need to go get more biotone, depending on how far these stretch. Let's do it. There goes Aaron and Samantha with the water tank, which they just brought over so we could water in our onions. So we've got a huge section of candies. It's crazy to me that we planted the same amount of packs of each variety and it just gets smaller in number. So ton of candies, a little less Walla Wallas, and yellow sweets we had the fewest. And Benjamin was a super awesome helper, separating the onions.
So you can see this like a little walk path so you can know they're separated, candy, Walla Walla.
Yeah, he's saying that we left a little walkway right here.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna demonstrate. Good job. And we ended up with just over 400 onions in the ground, which is perfect because usually, I mean, there's been some years where I've grown 1,500 onions or some crazy number like that. And I do cook a lot, but I wanna say that like 5 to 6 nights out of the week I use an onion. So this will still allow us to give some away, which is great. And we're sort of losing light at the moment. We've got just a little bit left. So I will come back out tomorrow morning to put our application of land and sea compost, which will make the drip tape kind of stay in place a little bit, and it will kind of spruce up the area too. Always makes it look good, and it will feed the onions. But I did use a lot of biotone, so we should have a really good crop, a dandy of a crop, huh, Benjamin? Yep. So we're gonna wrap it up for tonight, and we'll be back out here in the morning to finish up with land and sea, and then we will finish our ice cream. It'll all be chilled by tomorrow morning so we can put it in the ice cream freezer, and maybe we should take some down to Nana.
yeah, because she loves ice cream.
All right, see you guys in the morning. All right, guys, it's a new day. The onions fared decently overnight. You can see them here. They don't look like much in the beginning, but I've had some years where I've popped them out and they've turned brown overnight and flopped over on the ground and looked completely dead. And they still root in and come back. It's amazing. They're tough, tough plants. I did not harden these seedlings off, so I took this flat of plants straight from the warm greenhouse and popped them out here instead of gradually acclimating them to outside temperatures. So I sort of expected that they might not look awesome, and they look way better than I thought. So what we're gonna do is we're going to top dress with the land and sea just around the plants, just kind of add a little bit more nutrients around these plants, and I added quite a lot of biotone. So what we'll have to do maybe midway through growing season is we'll come along with garden tone and side dress the plants just to give them that extra boost, and that's usually it. But I've got a few bags here. Hopefully when we're down lower to the ground, the breeze doesn't affect us too much. So let's just get it done, and then we can head in and get our ice cream finished, and we're gonna take it down to the garden center this afternoon so that my mom in particular can taste test it. She loves the ice cream. All done. They look so much better. You can actually see them now. And as we plant more crops, I will just be mulching more all the way down the row. It looks kind of like a tedious job, but it's really not all that hard. It took us about 30 minutes to do that. But going forward, if I'm actually putting plants in the ground as opposed to like seed potatoes, we'll bury, and then I can just easily dump mulch over the top of them. But if I'm putting in plants, I might put the mulch down first and then pop our plants in. That might be a little bit less time consuming, but again, it didn't take very long. And now they're all tucked in and ready to go. I love that. So now we can head in and finish up our ice cream so that we can take it down to the garden center. We're loaded up in the car with the ice cream. I've got it all packed in ice. Ice below it and ice above it, big chunks. Okay, Benjamin's got the waffle cones. And I got some caramel syrup just in case we need to drown out the dandelion flavor. You're not gonna have any, even with caramel syrup?
You already tried it? No.
I've got waffle cones. Oh, be brave, Aaron. Be brave.
Maybe a bite.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna start assembling these cones. Soft.
Mom forgot to get the ice cream cone?
I did.
You got 'em.
So that's what it looks like, all frozen.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Like this.
Well, it's pretty
I
soft.
can't wait.
Can't
I
wait.
can't wait.
Me too. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good.
I'm gonna eat mine unadulterated.
Okay. What do you think of the ice cream, bud?
Good.
You like it?
Oh, it has dandelion flavor.
Yeah. Yes, it does. You can put, oh, shoot. You can put caramel on it. That'll be mine.
Yeah. Should give it a taste.
Jeez.
Well, you're working with a pumpkin scoop.
Yeah. This is a pumpkin scoop, that is for sure. Okay, well, it's not pretty.
Oh, it's so pretty.
I think form's a big part of it. Yeah.
Tastes just like a dandelion.
Tweak it,
Nope. Tastes like a
position or whatever.
cream.
The
Cream?
bees,
Uh-huh.
the bees made caramel.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bee's knees.
You don't like it? You want some caramel on it, babe? It's the weirdest stuff.
Oh, okay, let me taste it unadulterated.
Okay.
I like it. It kind of tastes like tea.
Does it taste like tea?
Like tea with honey in it.
Oh, ooh. As an ice cream? Oh. Yeah. You ready, you're in? Yeah, you can have caramel on it.
I'll eat this one.
So I found this recipe actually on Facebook. It was from Cooking with Donna.
Cooking with Donna.
Cooking with Donna. So anyway, I thought, well, I've got dandelions. Like, what do we all have to harvest right now? Dandelions.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm going to try it now.
Good. I like it.
Yeah, me too with the caramel.
You like it with the caramel? You like it with the caramel, Samantha?
Oh, she's just.
Well, you're going to have to watch the bottom. It's going to want to melt right out
You
the
better
bottom.
lick that.
I did.
Yep,
This,
baby. Careful.
I did the same thing with mine.
Mm.
I just ate off the bottom. This is good ice cream.
Okay, I'm going to eat the one that I massacred, trying to get it into the cone. You guys have massive spoons.
Yes.
Every layer needs to have caramel. Okay, here we go. Hi, Shane.
Hello.
Okay, now I'm going to try a bite with caramel.
Taste of the honey in it.
Oh, with caramel, it's pretty good.
I think it's good. I'm real hungry right now, so it tastes real good to me.
So what would you rate it out of 10? Because I'd rate it about a 4 or 5. 4.
Well, I'd give a 6 or 7. That's exactly what I was going to
6
say.
or 7, really? Samantha's just loving the waffle cone. That's good. Oh, hello. I also added an extra teaspoon of vanilla, like above what the recipe said. And I felt like that helped kind of mask a little bit of that dandelion flavor. And you could maybe go like half cup of dandelion petals instead of a full cup. And then it wouldn't be quite so strong possibly. But it's an interesting thing. Isn't there like medicinal qualities to dandelions, right?
It's a spring tonic in an ice cream form.
A spring tonic
Just have it
ice
in our
cream.
health.
It's their supplements for the
Yeah.
day.
Just for
You
our
know
health.
what? I find nothing offensive about this.
I'm a huge. I mean, what is the taste so? I don't even think I taste dandelion.
Oh, I do.
I taste mostly honey.
Do you really? See, I don't taste the honey at all. I just taste
Oh, I taste the honey big time.
the dandelion. Oh. Well, it was worth trying, I think. I always kind of get intrigued when I run across some really random, weird sounding recipe. Sometimes they're so weird that, and it's something you wouldn't think of at all, and they can turn out like super amazing. So sometimes you stumble on those. I don't think I would make this again, and you could probably tweak it a little bit, and it froze up great, and like the custard was easy to make, so that part was great. Maybe omit the dandelion and just have like a honey ice cream, honey
With
vanilla.
cinnamon. Honey cinnamon ice cream.
That would be good.
That would, because this ice cream recipe is really good.
Yeah, it's very
The
creamy.
texture, it's creamy. It's
Yeah. So anyway, guys, that is going to be it for today. Honey dandelion ice cream and planting and prepping the area and getting all of our onions planted. Feels really good to have that done. So thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye. Hey, yes, Monica just nailed what the flavor of this ice cream is.
It tastes like Honey Nut Cheerio milk.
Like the milk that's left over in your bowl after you've eaten Honey Nut Cheerios.
It tastes
That's
exactly like that.
exactly like the dandelion and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has that flavor.
It does. And that is not a bad thing. That is a good thing.
Nice. Dad liked it. So we're kind of
I
mixed
like it.
mixed results, I guess. Okay, bye.